This hopium copium. I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing these people, these liberals, just panic, cry. And the thing is, they're in their own reality now. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, CBS, ABC, they all have this one thing in common. That is, now they got to admit that something's wrong with Biden. See, independent media, people like myself, INN, Jimmy Dore Show, Do Dissidents, RBN, all these channels, everyone across the political spectrum. I'm even including conservatives, Republicans, libertarians, including everyone. We've all been saying this for years that there was something wrong with Biden. We all know. We all know it. And yet CNN and MSNBC were always so super fast. All of the corporate media was in a super fast rush to go ahead and, well, make us look not legitimate or say that our statements were false or fake news. But when you see people have meltdowns like this, like James Carville, remember James Carville saying that everyone's got to shut up and vote for Biden? Well, now he's saying we have to get rid of Biden. Say it ain't so, James Carville. Do you want to see a guy have a breakdown? Because he mentions a couple of times in this interview, like 3 or 4 times. He's 80 years old. He doesn't care anymore.
Frankly, most Democratic officials across the country. Let's bring in Democratic strategist James Carville, the former lead strategist for Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign. James, can President Biden win re-election this November?
It doesn't. That's not the real question here. The real question here is we have a Supreme Court that's bought and paid for by RVs and fishing lodges. We have a country that 72% want something different. If the Democratic Party can't produce something different that 72% of people want, then why do we exist? What are we here for?
Why are we here? Are we only here to suffer? That's a Metal Gear Solid reference. If you guys know what I'm referencing.
I mean, the country is clamoring for change. And what are we going to offer them? The same stuff? It doesn't make any sense, Jake. Give the people what they want. Vox populi. They want something different. Let's give it to them. I mean, I just don't get the whole thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm from Bucks, and everybody saw what they saw Thursday night. I don't take any pleasure in this. I did this was a year ago. I'm going to be 80 in October. You can't.
That's one time. I'm going to be 80 in October. I can't do this anymore. I can't lie. My body can't sustain itself anymore.
Fight this stuff. It's just there.
So what happens? What do you think the Democrats should do?
They have no plan. Now, yes, voters wanted something new. In 2016 and in 2020, there was a nutless wonder, a cuck called Bernie Sanders, who sold his lies to all of us. Like the cuck and nutless wonder that he is, he decided then to bend over backwards for the Democratic Party. So yes, the voters wanted something, but the Democrats were the ones that said no.
Something different. All right. And I don't know. It'll be messy. It'll be a mess. And that's what change is. But if the Democratic Party is so committed to the status quo and so committed to sticking with something that 3/4 of the country doesn't want, then we have to say, why do we exist? What are we here for? But in mine, we were here to change civil rights. We were here to bring change in Medicare and do great things and family and medical leave and expanding health care.
Gee, that sounds like something that cuck Bernie Sanders was talking about until the DNC and everyone else in the DCCC did everything they could to deny Bernie Sanders a nomination. He allowed that to happen, by the way. But, weren't you guys against all of that? That was like a big old pipe dream. And now what do y'all got?
And great things that are part of my party and why I love it. But if we can't bring something that people want, I have to doubt our rationale for being here. I really do.
Biden huddled with his family over the weekend at Camp David, and we're told that his family thinks he should stay in the race. What's your response?
I've been 50 years, and people say, James, my family loves me, and people like you, and y'all just looking for the next scalp or next notch on your bed to make the next fee. And maybe we do, and maybe they love you, but their judgment is clouded by love. I mean,
Oh, he thinks that that the Biden family loves him. No, they don't. No, they don't.
I really like President Biden, but man, the country wants something new. Let them have it. Why are we fighting?
He's like, why are we here? He's so old now. He can't even fathom or remember all the stuff he was saying last year or earlier this year, how all of us had to shut up and vote for Biden, that we all had to support the Democrats. Now, he would occasionally drop a line here and there, but I don't think even this old dog was ready for the disaster that would be last week.
This inevitable desire on, and they can't deliver it. I mean, Trump is going to be sentenced on July the 11th. The Supreme Court is like, come on, we don't even want to discuss this. But give the people a shot. Let them look at who's in the party. And I believe there's staggering talent in the Democratic Party. Get out the way and let 1,000 flowers bloom.
But that's not going to happen because, first of all, let's look at all the stellar performers that the Democrats are trying to promote. Let's first of all bring this up here because this is being brought up. They're sending in Michelle Obama can only beat Donald Trump. Michelle Obama, wife of former U.S. President Barack Obama, is the only potential Democratic candidate who could beat Republican frontrunner Donald Trump in November's election, according to a new Reuters poll. What? There's a growing concern among Democratic voters over President Joe Biden's ability to secure a second term in office this year, particularly after his debate with Trump, in which the 81-year-old incumbent appeared frail and confused and struggled to finish his sentences. On July 1st and 2nd, the Reuters poll that I mentioned above reached out to 1,070 U.S. adults for Reuters, including 892 registered voters, 348 Democrats, 322 Republicans, and 303 independents. According to poll, if a vote were to be held right now, Biden and Trump would both win an estimated 40% of votes. However, around 3 in 5 votes, including nearly 1/3 of Democrats, believe Biden should drop out of the race altogether and that his party should put forward a new candidate even at this late stage. And the only person, according to the polls that was showing it, because there were other people there, most of Biden's potential replacements do not seem to have public approval or recognition, need to beat Trump on November 5th, according to the on the poll. In a hypothetical matchup against Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris was 1 point behind the Republican candidate, while others like California Governor Gavin Newsom and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer fared even worse. The only person who beat Trump was Michelle Obama, the poll suggests. This all seems like a setup to me. In her matchup against the former president, some 50% of registered voters said they would vote for her, compared to 39% who said they would vote for Trump. So that's who they want, right? But hold on. This has now also opened the floodgates for more grifters. For the third time, she's thrown her hat right back in the ring. Marianne Williamson calls to replace Biden today. Again. I throw my hat in the ring. That's right. Marianne Williamson's. That's Crystal and Kyle's. And I think a few other people. I think Brown and Joy Gray and a few other people. This was their number one gal. This was their choice. Marianne Williamson. Marianne, you egomaniac. You're on a book tour. You're not running for president. Former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson on Tuesday called for the Democratic Party to replace President Biden at the top of the 2024 ticket and said she would seek the top spot herself. Lady. I don't know what kind of substance you're taking to make your brain say stupid things, but stop it. Get help. President Biden deserves our respect. F you. No, he doesn't. Our compassion. No, he doesn't. And our gratitude. No, he doesn't. The debate last week, however, made it clear that the time is now for another Democratic candidate to take his place on the November ballot. Today, I throw my hat in the ring, added Marianne Williamson, who turns 72 next week. Williamson said Democrats must restart the nominating process and hold an open convention in August, adding, we need to recalibrate and we need to do so quickly. Quickly! Williamson's statement marks the third time she has announced her candidacy in this cycle. So not once, not twice, but tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. A Barney got shot by a G.I. Joe. Marianne Williamson decides to enter the race again. That's right. She's back in the race. But it's not only that. You have to look at what does an open convention look like. Here's how it work. Again, as calls mount for President Joe Biden to step down from the presidential race after a poor debate performance, some are asking for Democrats to hold an open convention in August to pick a nominee. Key facts: an open convention is a method of nominating the presidential candidate that has not been used since the 1960s and involves the selection of a party nominee through a process at the convention itself, rather than more common modern approach of anointing a candidate who had won a majority of delegates in primary contests. So, if Biden would drop out of the race, he would surrender the pledged delegates he won through the primary season, leaving those delegates unpledged and able to vote for other candidates running for the party's nominee. Should Biden leave the race, candidates wanting to replace him would likely target their efforts at the state and county level, where delegates are selected to go to the national convention and try and get their supporters picked to fill any remaining delegate spots for the electoral process. Expert Ilian Kamrick told the New York Times. Ezra Klein on a podcast earlier this year, were Biden to leave the race now, though, after so many delegates have been selected under the notion that they pledge to Biden, candidates running to replace him, we need to campaign quickly and target the selected delegates in an effort to ensure voters at the convention would support their nomination. So, in other words, here's the people that they have in mind: Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Pritzker, Governor Gretchen, Colorado Governor Jared Polis, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and of course, yes, even Representative Dean Phillips. Marianne Williamson, I don't see your name up there. And this convention is going to take place in Chicago, but the amount of copium that Democrats are going through right now, the amount of sadness that they're dealing with, just remember to check up on your favorite liberal, because they're hurting right now. They're in pain. They need a parental figure because they're lost. I want to pull this up here, because how could we forget this Mamala incident?
I keep thinking in my head that we all need a mom. I've been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now.
Yeah.
But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
Ha! We need you to be Mamala. Mamala.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I know.
And as a woman who respects so much and wants to share and wants to be confident and has no ounce of me that has competitiveness,
Yeah.
when we lift each other up, we all rise.
That's exactly right. That's right. That's right. That's
We need a Mamala again. Again, pure gold. Who would ever think that debate would utterly trigger the vote blue no matter who crowd? But with lines like this, with Kamala, tell us, what do you like?
I like the barbecue sauce mostly. Yeah, that's my favorite dipping sauce, especially for the chicken McNugget. My best friend, who was like a sister to me, called me up and she's like, "I need you to go out with this guy."
Ha! Oh man, this is such a delicious, delicious meal. Watching the copium, watching the pain. They have nothing to say. No pundit has any leg to stand on. They are no longer legitimate. What we could take away from all of this is that corporate media has lost its true legitimacy to be an authoritative source. I mean, it's now all out there. I mean, everybody can say it because corporate media was one of the key factors of providing a shield wall for Joe Biden. But that shield wall has broken. The great phalanx has been kicked apart. It doesn't hold anymore. Same time, too, look at all the replacements. Who do the Democrats have? Nobody. I mean, no one's excited for Michelle Obama or Hillary Clinton or Kamala. No one wants Governor Newsom. From what I've heard from our California audience, all of you say that man is the devil. No one's excited for Governor J.B. Pritzker. No one's excited for Democrats, period. Why? Because the Democrats destroyed any notion of real change. They could have, in theory, embraced the progressive movement. They could have, in theory, actually done great things. They could have, they should have, but they didn't. And now they have to pay the price. They are their own worst enemies. And I understand people are triggered by Donald Trump. I get it that people are afraid of the man. I understand it completely. But what's the point of me or anybody else wasting our time, energy, and money into a political party that has no follow through? You ran with Joe Biden, you made him your top dog, and now you're stuck with old Yeller. And you have to take old Yeller out there in the back and finally regulate after so many years. Yes, old man Biden was a good old dog for the donor class, but the donor class saw what happened, and they want to make sure that their money's going to be safe. But at the same time, too, to all the donors, they know that there's no replacement. So who knows what the convention will look like here in Chicago, but expect Hard Lens Media to cover it, as we should.